Mount Moriah Cemetery 2022 Preservation Improvements. Refurbishment of loose stacked stone retaining walls. Complete Contracting Solutions.
Complete Contracting Solutions was awarded a project to provide restorative reconstruction of retaining walls at Mount Moriah Cemetery for the city of Deadwood, South Dakota. The designer was Tallgrass Landscape Architecture. The work was performed during the late summer and early fall of this last year. The purpose of this project was to address structural and aesthetic issues with the many retaining walls around the grave sites in the cemetery. From the outset, we recognized quite a few challenges involved in performing the work. First, the site is an active tourist destination with nearly 100,000 visitors each year. So we would have to be aware of the public, not just from a safety perspective, but from a public relations perspective. Second, the terrain. If you've been there, you know that it can present a pretty good hike just getting up to the different grave sites that the people want to see. But add to that lugging tools, rocks, mortar, and concrete around. Third, most of the sites where we were working on were off of the paved paths, so we had to be careful of damaging the grass and plantings. Lastly, the obvious concerns for possibly disturbing the remains in the sites we were working on. We solved these issues by using turf tires on our wheeled equipment, using ground mats as much as possible to help protect the site. Where we would have to excavate to place concrete walls and drainage systems, we did all that we could to limit the size of the excavations so that we disturbed as little of the area as possible while still getting the work done correctly. Our superintendent, Nick Hanson, must have made sure our crew was very aware of where they were and the importance of showing respect for this place, as I got several compliments from the owner's staff. They were all very impressed with the level of respect and helpfulness shown by all of our crew members. And while we made very detailed preparations on how we would handle any of the disturbed remains, thankfully we did not have to make use of them. I believe this was partly due to luck and partly due to our attention to limiting our footprint to the greatest extent possible. As for the actual stonework, that was its own adventure. The idea was to reuse the existing stones in rebuilding the retaining walls and to produce an appearance as near to the original as possible. This meant doing a few things a lot differently than we initially thought we would. For example, we threw our string line back in the toolbox and we only used a level to plumb forms, as all of the concrete needed to follow the existing grades, and the walls followed the original locations on the sites. Where we had partial walls to work with, we performed demolition carefully to try to preserve the original pattern of the stones on the ground in front of the walls. This was done in an effort to have at least a little bit of a guide as to how the walls looked originally. And while none of our crew had a great deal of masonry experience, we studied techniques online and in trade publications, looking to provide an original old-time look with the materials that would offer a longer lifespan. The management of Complete Contracting Solutions is very proud of the work our crew performed on this project, and we are thankful to the City of Deadwood and their staff, as well as Mike Bender with Tallgrass Architecture, for the opportunity to perform this project, and the support they provided, which was instrumental in making this project a success.
Master Craftsman from Complete Contracting Solutions, Superintendent Nick Hanson, Craftsmen Ryan Van Ausdell, Simon Magelky, Josh Huggett, and Eric Heiber. Help us congratulate the Craftsmen from Complete Contracting Solutions.